Jim Bouton, as you probably know, is the former Major League Baseball pitcher who wrote the controversial best-selling book Ball 4. And this spring, after 7 years after retiring from baseball, he decided to make a comeback. He is now the ace pitcher for the Portland Mavericks of the Class A Northwest League. Would you welcome Jim Bouton? How are you?
I'm fine.
How are things in Portland? Sorry about last night. You were supposed to be with us last night. We got behind time. You could stay over for a day.
That's okay.
Because you got a game coming up soon, don't you?
Yeah, I have a big game on beer night, Friday night. And...
On beer night?
Beer
How do
night,
those things
yes.
work out? In some parks, they've had problems with that because they give people something like 12 ounces of beer for 2 bits, and the fans get a little bunkers, don't they, sometimes?
Yeah, well, as long as they don't stop buying beer. I mean, that's the...
No, in other words, you're just there so they come in to buy the beer.
That's right. I've been instructed to pitch slowly. I usually pitch a fast game, but on beer night, if you pitch slower, they drink more.
There was an article the other day in the LA Times. They did a thing on you, and I think it was the Los Angeles Times said somebody was quoting the owner of your team, I guess, saying that he's just a boy, he'll always be a boy, or something like that. What did he mean? That you're always going to be childlike, or
well,
or
I don't
what?
know. I guess because I want to play baseball rather than do something more normal for I'm a 38-year-old man. I guess be a businessman or something. I just have no urge to do that.
Now, you didn't play for what, 7 years?
Yeah, I retired in 1970, and at that time I thought, well, this would be it for me in baseball, and I went into sportscasting, and I did that for 5 years. And
You didn't like that particularly, did you?
Oh, yeah, I liked it very much.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. I just didn't. I wasn't thrilled by baseball offers the possibility of becoming a big league ball player, and you wake up with that dream that today might be the day when you put it all together and you could be back in the big leagues. It's like I think a lot of guys work in a job, a corporation executive, even though they make a lot of money.
Right.
Like yourself, for example, you might give up your $17,000 a minute job if you had a chance to play tennis. Let's say in tennis, if you had a chance to be a professional tennis player somewhere and you had a chance to play at Wimbledon,
yeah,
wouldn't you go try that? Would you take a shot at that?
Sure.
I think a lot of people would.
So you decided you'd like to go back into baseball.
Yeah.
How does your family feel about it?
Well, they don't like. My wife likes it because she likes baseball, and she was a scorekeeper for her high school baseball team. So she's a sports fan. The kids don't like the idea that we have to sell our house because it means giving up the swimming pool and cutting back in their lifestyle.
Because when you're in the major leagues, it's a little different than when you're pitching for the Portland Mavericks, right? I assume
Sure.
It's not too financially rewarding. I don't know.
Listen, I'm here for the $371.75 because to me that's a month's salary.
Is that what you?
Yeah, $400 a month is what we make. The Portland Mavericks make that.
That's a little slim, isn't it?
And well, it is. It's a little slim. So they don't mind. They don't like cutting back and give up the pool and whatnot. But it's good for them, I think, to see. For them to see me scuffling at a lower level, because when they were born, I was a big league ball player, and then I went from that to sportscasting, and then the book came out, and that was a successful thing. And I think they got the impression that you simply sign up for things. I remember my eldest son Michael.
So they hadn't been through any of that.
Right, my eldest son Michael, when asked what he wanted to be, he said he wanted to be a Broadway star, and I think they have the impression that you simply. You decide you want to be a lawyer or a businessman or a fireman or a major league. Right, you sign up for it and then you become it, So now they can see very clearly that it's not that easy and that Dad has to scuffle and work very hard.
Pay your dues a little bit.
Yeah.
You didn't start the season in Portland, did you?
No, I started in Knoxville, Tennessee when I was with the White Sox organization, and the kids came down to join me in Knoxville, and it was a good experience for them because they learned how to talk Southern. The kids in the Knoxville public school system were really good to them. They said, "You guys talk like Northerners, and you're not going to make it around here. You have to talk Southern." And so
suppose they get a chance to speak to the president sometime.
Exactly
They
right.
should know how to handle their case.
So they got around in a little group and they said, "Now say fried chicken." They said fried chicken. They said, "No, you got to say fried chicken, fried chicken." So just when they learned to talk Southern, I got released by Knoxville, and.
Now you're in Portland.
I got sent to Durango, Mexico.
Durango, Mexico?
Right. Then they had to learn how to talk Spanish. And they had taken some Spanish in school. And I remember Michael telling me, "Gee, Dad, they never taught me in Spanish in school what I really have to know, which is to say, where is the bathroom?" which is what you have to know when you
Should
live
know
in
those
Mexico for a month, right? And how to say purified water and other very important things.
How's the pitching coming?
I'm 3-10 so far this season. But it's coming around. I see it out there on the horizon, you know. If I
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, it's very difficult being out for 7 years because your muscles deteriorate and you forget.
It's almost heard of
exactly.
somebody, not a pitcher, laying off. You can see maybe somebody catches or something else with a pitcher.
Yeah.
The arm and everything.
Well, fortunately, it wouldn't be possible if I didn't throw a knuckleball, which is a tricky pitch, but it's an easy pitch on your arm. It doesn't take a lot of strength. It's a pitch that you throw with your fingertips, and you throw the ball without any rotation. So
how can you get any pace on a ball like that?
Well, what happens is when you throw a ball without rotation, it goes through the air, and the air currents hit the seams and force it to change direction. And it moves in a new direction, exposing a new set of seams, changing direction again. So when you throw it 60 miles an hour, compared to a fastball, which goes, let's say, 100 miles an hour, what it does is it jumps around in the air. And it's a very difficult pitch to catch. Because if it does what it's supposed to do,
How about to hit,
you
though?
can't catch it. And if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, they hit it and you still can't catch it.
Let me do this and we'll come back. We'll be back.
How do you hold it? Tell me how you
We're talking with Jim Bowden. I asked him, we got a baseball, because if you don't know what a knuckler is, and I wasn't that familiar with it, you hold it actually by...
You hold it with your fingertips.
Get a close-up of that, because
They call it a knuckleball because years ago when it was invented, I guess Dutch Leonard was one of the early pitchers. They actually used to throw it with their knuckles on the ball. But now most of the pitchers throw it with their fingertips. I use 3 fingers.
Right.
Because I learned mine when I was 12 years old.
So that's really how you
I saw a picture on the back of a cereal package, and I went out in the backyard, and I tried to throw this pitch without any spin on it, and I threw 100 of them. They didn't do anything. They all were spinning in the air,
Right.
so they didn't move around. And then I threw one correctly, and it jumped around in the air and hit my brother right in the kneecap. And he was writhing on the ground, saying, "What a great pitch that is! What a great pitch!" And I spent the rest of the summer trying to learn how to do that again.
Now, you
Most
said
of them
you're-
use 2 fingers.
You said you're what, 37 now?
38.
38. Now, how about the other players?
Well, they're all 22 and 18 and...
How do they relate to you? Because you don't, well, first of all, you don't look 38.
Well, they like me because I'm a good competitor, and most of them, actually, I fit in better with these kids than I did 15 years ago when I came up with the Yankees. When I first came up in 1962, if you were an outspoken person or had opinions, you were really the oddball in the clubhouse because baseball was ball players were tended to be narrow and suspicious and not really open-minded. And
Yeah, well, you said
kids
quite
today
a
are
few
different.
things now when you wrote your book, Ball 4, which created a little furor among ball players, because ball players and kids, especially baseball players, the great American pastime, have always been brought up as American heroes, clean living, 4-H members and all that, and all players are only human, and they get into a lot of escapades, and you made a few comments on some of those. How are some of the guys still angry at you?
Well, some of the big league ball players who I played with on the Yankees are. Mickey Mantle is still mad at me. He won't speak to me, and I don't get invited back to Old Timers Day, even though I was the last Yankee pitcher to win a World Series game. I still don't get invited back.
So they're still
Yeah.
little
The interesting thing about that is that probably the most controversial thing I said, and this is 7 years ago, was that one time Mickey Mantle came up to bat and he hit a home run with a hangover, and he came into the dugout afterwards, and we said, "How'd you do it?" Mickey said, "I hit the middle ball."
Just pick the one that looked good.
The one in the middle, right. And I put that in there because I thought it was a tribute to what a great ball player he was, and also to point out the fact that ball players don't come back to the hotel and have milk and cookies when the game is over. We drink, and Mickey drank a lot, and probably more than his share from time to time. And this was a tremendously terrible thing to say and to reveal. And now, just to show you how times change, here it is 7 years later, and I flip on my television set, and here's Mickey Mantle.
With Whitey Ford.
With Whitey Ford. They're in a bar, and they say something to the effect of, remember when we used to have a drink after the important games? And the other one says, yeah, and they were all important. And
we used to hoist a few, yeah.
Right, and if they'd had the right kind of beer, they'd be in the Beer Drinkers Hall of Fame. The only thing wrong about it is that it should have been scotch instead of beer, but still, I mean...
No,
I deserve a finder's fee for introducing these guys to Madison Avenue.
I think you're right.
You know what?
What do you think the realistic possibilities are? You say you laid off big league ball, and you say you have that dream of getting back. How would you assess the possibilities? If you really start pitching well, that makes a difference, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah, with a pitcher, especially with a knuckleball, as soon as I start throwing it good, I mean, I could go right up. It's the kind of a pitch that when you don't throw it well, like I haven't been this summer, anybody can hit it. And if you do throw it well, nobody can hit it. There's only 3 guys in the big leagues who throw knuckleballs. Phil Niekro, Wilbur Wood, and Charlie Huff of the Dodgers, and they're 3 of the best pitchers in baseball.
Well, I thank you for staying over today and being with us, and I wish you all great success with your career. I think it would be great if you came back and got back in it.
Thank you.
You seem determined to do it.
Well, it's fun doing what I'm doing right now. How much time do we have?
Just about half a minute.
Okay. Because my teammates told me that if I read their names on television, that my defense might be better behind me.
All right, how many can you name? Quick. Real quick.
Well,
I want to thank George for being here tonight. Edgar will be with Arthur Fiedler and the Boston Pops at the Saratoga Music Festival on August the 13th. Now let's see how fast you can do this.
Jim Swanson, Bob Foster, Cliff Holland, Cut Collette, Joe Garza, Bill Martinez, Doc Wilbur, John Yoshiwara, John Ed Gilliam, Terry Lee, Silky Cervantes, Dan Palmer, Corky Cork, and Buster Atterbury.
I'm humbled by that applause.